Hi guys, welcome to another video of Styles by Treese. And yes, it is Treese. My name is Latrice, and my mom spelled my name very differently than how it should be. I'm going to blame that on her being a young mama. No judgments. We all got some in this world, and we all got the mamas that want to name us something different. On this video today, what I'm going to be doing is a DIY queen size headboard. Ain't she pretty? Ain't she pretty? So I've had a brass headboard now for almost close to 3 years. I bought it when I moved into this place. It's actually something I got from the thrift store. It was a twin size bed frame, and I just decided to take the front and the end, and just put them together and make myself a headboard. It's very pretty, but I just thought it was time for something different, and I wanted to do a DIY. I see all these DIYs on YouTube, so I was like, why not can I do a DIY? So that's what I did. It's very simple, very inexpensive. It's doing DIYs. It's a learning process in the doing it yourself. I'm not going to say that it was easy, because when you get to doing DIYs, you get a lot of hiccups, you get a lot of stuff, but you learn a lot in the process, which will make the next one that you do easier than the first. But it is very inexpensive, and I love doing DIYs because, again, you learn a lot in the process, and also it's just fun to do. It's kind of a stress reliever also as well. So if you're into that type of stuff, you're going to love this project. It only took me under $65 to do, and that's not including the cost of my X-acto knife, which you will need some type of straight edge blade when you're finishing off the edges of this. But you don't have to go out and get an X-acto knife for that. And then also I did include towards the end, when I added more support to the bottom of the headboard, I had some leftover 1x2s from a canvas that I had made. And so that was just extra scraps that I just had laying around my place. But if you guys want to know how I did it, you guys please stay tuned. The Pillow Stick towels came from Home Depot. They were $25.23 for a box, and there were a box of 20. I then went to Home Depot to get my supplies. I got a 4x8 pine board, which I had cut down to 62 inches, and that thing had to go on top of my car because it was not fitting inside. I also got some 3 1x2 cedar boards for the frame of the headboard. One was cut to 62 inches going across, and then the other 2 were cut to 46 inches going down. You also want to make sure you get primer to prime the headboard, because the towels would not stick to wood. I also got ebony stain for the frame of the headboard, and I had a leftover sponge brush from a previous project that I used, and this is what that board looks like after 2 coats of stain. Now on to laying the towels on the board. I first want to start off by saying the 2 skinny boards that you see at the bottom are the leftover that I had from the cedar planks cut. And I started those 62 inches from the bottom of the board down to the floor to give height to the headboard. Now, when I started laying the towels on the board, I followed the instructions and started in the middle. As I went through that process, I came to realize that was not going to work, because in the end, there would have been a lot of cutting that I would have to do. So I then moved the towels over, and I started from a 1/2 inch down from the board and a 1/2 inch over when it came to laying the towels. And you're gonna see at the end, when I started a 1/2 inch over, that was too much room, but I ended up getting that worked out. So here I am laying down my first towel. And now we're on to the second one. It is very important that when you're laying these towels, you want to make sure you get your point lined up. Whether you're going to use these towels or you're using any other towels that have a pattern, please take your time to make sure that you're lining up the design correctly, because if not, your design will come out looking crazy in the end, and more than likely you're going to want to have to start all the way back over just to make sure it looks good. So again, please take your time if you're going to be using this towel or any other towels that have a design on it. As you can see, as I'm switching the towels around and just trying to make sure the points are lined up correctly, I'm peeling back the paper just a little at a time, and that helped out a lot instead of peeling off that paper all at once before I made sure those points were lined up correctly, because your hands just would end up getting super duper sticky if you would have peeled it off all at once. So per the instructions on the third towel, I did start using, it's called a step pattern, and that is supposed to just help with making sure that you're lining the towels up correctly. Again, just still rotating those towels around, peeling that paper back just a little at a time. Once I know that those points are going to be lined up correctly, I'm peeling that paper off and just laying that towel on down. Now, another thing that I want to say, that as I was working with these towels the night before, I had the towels laid out on the floor, and the instructions say that you do want to lay the towels out and get the towels to be acclimated to a room temperature of 68 degrees Fahrenheit. But I also noticed with that some of the towels did have a red tint to them towards the bottom. And so what I did, you're going to notice as I get to the end of the board, of course there's going to be some that I'm going to have to cut off. I reserved those towels for the bottom of the board where I knew I was going to have to cut, to make sure that I cut that red part off so you would not see a lot of red tint on the headboard itself. So again, guys, I'm just working, laying down my towels, just making sure I'm taking my time, rotating the towels as needed, just to make sure that the design is going to be coming out clean. Now here we are at the bottom of the board, and I'm cutting off that excess that I do not need. And again, the majority of these towels are the towels that had the red tint on the bottom of them. So again, just cutting those off. Do not want to see that on the overall board. Here I use an X-acto knife to cut the towels, and you don't have to use an X-acto knife. You can use any single edge blade or sharp kitchen knife, because these towels are very easy to cut. Now, so you can see here where I used those scrap pieces for the side of the board where I had came over too much, just to cover up the white part of the board so that you would not see that when I laid the frame on the board. Now here's the board, and at the bottom, once it's done, and at the bottom I needed a little bit more support, and so I had some leftover 1x2 boards from a canvas that I had made, so I added 3 of those to the bottom of the board to get more support. And there she is, done. And if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe. And another thing is, I'm going to tone it down a little bit. My bed is bare. It's just my white sheets are on it because I don't know what type of color scheme I want to do for my room with this headboard. So in the comment section, you guys just leave a comment of what you think the color scheme should be. Who gets the most comments, that's going to be the color scheme that I'm going to go with. So, in all things, guys, put the good Lord first. And don't be out here doing nothing you know you ain't got no business doing. See you later. Bye.